Have you ever pondered the importance of community in survival situations? It's easy to get caught up in the idea of rugged individualism, the lone wolf surviving against the odds, but it's rarely, if ever, the full picture. The reality is, we humans are social creatures. We thrive on cooperation and mutual support. Take a moment to consider the sheer scale of the challenges we might face in a survival scenario. Natural disasters, power outages, resource scarcity. It's daunting. But when we stand together, the burden becomes shared, the risk dispersed. A strong community is like a safety net, catching us when we stumble, lifting us when we fall. History is rich with examples of communities coming together in times of adversity. During the Great Depression, neighbors banded together, sharing meals, bartering goods and services, pooling resources. Amid the chaos of World War II, communities formed home fronts, supporting each other and the war effort through food rationing, sharing transportation, even knitting socks for soldiers. Then there's the Cuban special period in the early 90s. The Soviet Union had collapsed, leaving Cuba without its main source of imports and exports. It was a time of severe scarcity, but communities rallied, developing urban agriculture, sharing meals, and creating a system of barter and mutual aid that saw them through. These examples show that in the face of adversity, community isn't just nice to have, it's a necessity. A supportive community acts like a living, breathing organism, pooling resources, sharing knowledge, looking out for one another. It's about more than just survival, it's about thriving, even in the harshest conditions. So, how do you build such a community? How do you forge these bonds of mutual support and cooperation? That's what we're going to explore in this series. As we've seen, when faced with adversity, there is strength in numbers. A strong community can be the difference between merely surviving and truly thriving. It's about more than just sharing resources. It's about standing together, supporting one another, and facing whatever comes our way as a united front. In the heart of every resilient community are the neighbors. They are the ones who we share our daily joys and struggles with, and in times of crisis, they become our first line of support. So how do we begin building this network of mutual aid? Start with the simplest action. Get to know your neighbors. Share a friendly hello, a wave, or even host a neighborhood potluck. These small gestures go a long way in building trust and camaraderie. Once you've established these relationships, you can begin to discuss mutual aid networks. Mutual aid is all about neighbors helping neighbors. It's a reciprocal exchange of resources and services that strengthen our bonds and enhance our survival. For instance, if you're good at gardening and your neighbor is a whiz with tools, you could exchange vegetables for tool repairs. Or maybe you have a nurse living next door who could provide first aid training in exchange for babysitting services. This way, you're not only sharing resources but also skills, making your community stronger and better prepared for any crisis. Organizing community meetings is another crucial step. Regular gatherings offer an opportunity to discuss common concerns, share knowledge, and plan for emergencies. It's also a great place to start organizing safety drills. These drills could range from fire evacuations to first aid scenarios, and they give everyone in the community a chance to practice their roles and responsibilities during a crisis. Lastly, don't forget the power of good old-fashioned neighborliness. Be there for your neighbors in times of need, and they'll be there for you. Offer a helping hand, lend an ear, and show kindness. Remember, a strong community is not just about resources and drills, it's about people coming together, looking out for each other, and standing strong as a unit. Remember, your neighbors are your first line of defense and support in any crisis. So, start today. Reach out, connect, and start building your community. Because in the end, we're all in this together. A community's strength lies not only in its people, but also in its resources. We all know the saying, "It takes a village." But have you ever thought about what makes up that village? It's not just the people, it's the resources they bring to the table. And when it comes to survival, leveraging those local resources can make all the difference. Think about a community garden. It's not just a plot of land, it's a source of fresh food, a place to learn about gardening, and a gathering spot for people to share knowledge and skills. Similarly, tool libraries can provide access to equipment that you might not have on hand, from power drills to pressure washers. These places not only offer tools, but also foster a sense of shared responsibility and cooperation. Then there are skill-sharing workshops. These could be formal classes or casual get-togethers where people teach each other everything from canning fruits and vegetables to basic first aid. These gatherings are a goldmine of knowledge, and they help to strengthen community bonds. But leveraging local resources isn't limited to these examples. It can also mean collaborating with local businesses and services. Maybe there's a solar panel company in town that's willing to provide a group discount, or perhaps the local grocery store could be persuaded to donate food nearing its sell-by date to a community pantry. These collaborations aren't just about getting stuff, they're about building relationships. They're about recognizing that we're all in this together, and that by supporting each other we become stronger as a whole. So start exploring what your community has to offer. It might be a community garden, a tool library, or a skill-sharing workshop. Or it might be something entirely different. The key is to identify these resources and figure out how to use them to your advantage. Every community has its unique resources. Discover them, and you'll find a wealth of support. In a crisis, clear communication can mean the difference between chaos and coordination. It's the cornerstone of any successful community response plan, and it's what we're diving into today. When we talk about setting up communication networks within your community, we're not just referring to having everyone's phone number on speed dial. We're talking about establishing a reliable, efficient, and accessible system that allows for the rapid exchange of information. This could be anything from a community bulletin board to a dedicated online forum, or even a simple radio network. The key is to ensure that everyone knows how and where to access vital information when it's needed most. Now let's talk about coordination. It's one thing to have a plan, but it's another thing entirely to execute it seamlessly. That's where coordination with local emergency services comes in. By liaising with these professionals, you can integrate your community response plans with theirs. This means sharing evacuation routes, emergency contact numbers, and designated safe zones. It's about making sure that everyone is on the same page, literally and figuratively. But coordination doesn't stop there. Regular drills can help familiarize everyone with the plan and iron out any kinks. These drills offer a safe space to test out different scenarios and learn from any mistakes or oversights. Remember, it's better to make mistakes during a drill than during a real crisis. Communication and coordination are like the left and right hands of a community's survival strategy. They must work together seamlessly and efficiently to keep the community safe and prepared. It's not just about having a plan. It's about making sure that everyone knows the plan and can execute it effectively. When everyone knows the plan, you'll find that crisis management becomes significantly smoother. So let's get to work, folks, because when it comes to survival, there's no such thing as over-prepared. Resilience is not just an individual trait, but a community characteristic. Imagine a tight-knit community where every resident is a cog in a well-oiled machine, where everyone's unique skills and knowledge contribute to the self-sufficiency of the whole. That's the power of collective resilience. The first step to building this resilience is through knowledge sharing. Maybe your neighbor is a retired nurse who can teach everyone basic first aid. Perhaps the local mechanic can share knowledge on maintaining and repairing essential machinery. The retired teacher could offer tutoring for the children, and the tech-savvy teenager could help everyone stay digitally connected. This pooling of knowledge not only enhances everyone's skills and capabilities, but also strengthens relationships and fosters a sense of interdependence. But knowledge isn't the only thing we can share to bolster our communal resilience. Have you ever considered the potential benefits of group purchases? Let's delve into that. When we buy in bulk, we often get better deals. Now apply this concept to an entire community. Organizing collective purchases of essential supplies could lead to significant discounts. From canned goods and water purification tablets to solar panels and generators, the potential savings are substantial. Moreover, group purchases also ensure everyone in the community has access to these essential supplies. It minimizes the risk of any one household being left without crucial items in times of need. It's a practical demonstration of the old adage, united we stand, divided we fall. Building a resilient community isn't about isolating ourselves and focusing solely on personal survival. It's about connecting with others, sharing knowledge and resources, and working together towards a common goal. It's about realizing that our survival and well-being are intrinsically linked to those around us. Together, we can build a community that's not just surviving but thriving. As we wrap up our series, let's reflect on the importance of community in survival situations. We've journeyed through many facets of preparedness, all underscored by the thread of unity. A community, as we've seen, is not just about shared geography. It's about shared responsibility, shared resources, and shared resilience. From the outset, we emphasize the necessity of a supportive community for survival and well-being. We look back at history, at instances where communities have stood as bulwarks against crises. The pivot of survival, we understood, is not just the individual, but the collective. We then discussed the art of neighborhood diplomacy, the importance of knowing your neighbors, of building mutual aid networks that can function as lifelines in times of need. We talked about organizing community meetings and safety drills, fostering a sense of shared security and camaraderie. Our exploration of local resources was a revelation. We learned to see beyond the obvious, to identify potential resources like community gardens, tool libraries, and skill-sharing workshops. We discussed the benefits of collaborating with local businesses and services, creating a web of mutual support. Communication, that vital lifeline in any situation, was our next focus. We discussed setting up communication networks within your community, coordinating with local emergency services, and ensuring that everyone is on the same page when a crisis hits. And finally, we delved into the concept of building resilience together. We underscored the importance of shared knowledge and skills, of group purchases for discounts on essential supplies, and of improving community self-sufficiency. Now, as we close this chapter, remember the essence of bugging in. It's not just about individual preparedness, but about strengthening the bonds within our communities. Subscribe for future content and share your journey towards community resilience. For those who wish to delve deeper, the Ultimate Grid-Down Survival Handbook on Amazon offers extensive guidance on preparing for any scenario. Stay safe, stay prepared, and keep building your community. Until next time.